Hi guys, I am Kenya and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is so hot. It is so hot. Hold on, let me get me a folder, alright? This would be a good time for me to have one of those church fans. And I don't want to turn on the actual fan or the AC because it's going to be extremely loud and you're not going to be able to hear me, okay? So, alright, let's talk about if you should quit your job to become a real estate agent. What do I think about that? Absolutely not. If you have a full-time job and you just became a real estate agent, don't say, hey, I'm a real estate agent, I got my license, let me quit my job and do this full-time. Do not do it. Now, when I first started out, I also worked at a school during the day, and at night is when I would see my clients and I would do my rentals. Now, I mostly do rentals, so if you're here to hear about sales, I can't really tell you about that, but I've done lots of luxury rentals. So most of the time people are at work during the day, and when they do call you, it's really quick because they're at work, and then they aren't able to meet you until after work, which is perfect for me because once I left my school job around 3 o'clock, you know, I started to travel to meet people in the evenings, you know, and at night and on weekends to, you know, show them apartment rentals or whatever. Now for me, I work for a small boutique real estate agency. I made a whole video about that. My broker has a lot of connections. A lot of the listings that she had that I rented were hers. And it wasn't that many of us working, maybe like 15 of us in our whole real estate firm. So I didn't have that much competition because it's only like 15 of us and only like maybe like 7 or 8 of us that are actively, you know, renting out apartments, so it's not that much competition. Now, my broker, mostly her husband, basically showed me like everything about rentals. Like he basically taught me everything, and which was good. Now, if you work for a larger, you know, agency like Keller Williams, sometimes that one office will have like about 200, 300 agents. So if Keller Williams, you know, that office, if they do have their own listings, that's 200 to 300 agents, you know, that you're competing with for those listings. So you may not make money as fast as you would like to if you're doing rentals like I did. Now for me, it was fairly, you know, easy because like I said, my broker, she had like a lot of you know, her own house listings that we called them, and hey, it was like a free-for-all. And she also owns her own properties, and if we rented her properties, we kept, you know, 100% of our commission. There was no splits or anything, so that was pretty good. So for me, I made like all my money back that I spent on my real estate course, the licenses, the fees, all that stuff. I made a whole video about the fees associated with being a real estate agent. I made all that back and a little bit more my first month working as a rental agent. Now, it also depends on how motivated you are as a person. Like, I'm extremely motivated. Like, I need to make money, I need to have my bills paid, you know, I have a child I need to take care of, so I moved my feet, right? So that first month I jumped in and I did the damn thing, surprisingly, and they told me I was like the most successful like new real estate agent when I first started working here, which was a good compliment. You know, it shows my work ethic and, you know, how I am. So that's just that. So basically I was thrown into the real estate and I just learned everything on my own, you know. That was that. I basically learned everything, and as I went I asked questions. But basically when you become a real estate agent and you do rentals, you're basically going to be thrown out there because my broker, he basically gave me all the information I needed. He gave me all the papers. Here's all of our listings, this, that, and third. This is what you do. This is the application. I mean, it's just so much information. It's just like information overload. And you know, I'm the type of person, I mean, I went to Rutgers, I was a science major, so I'm used to having a whole lot of information thrown at me, and you know, I think that worked in my favor. just saying. So but if you're not like me and you're not that motivated, you get confused quickly. You need people to hold your hand every step of the way. You might not want to quit your job to become a real estate agent. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And sometimes your broker is just too busy to constantly, you know, mentor you one-on-one every step of the way. And sometimes your broker may not even be in the office half of the time. So you're going to be left trying to rely on other agents in the office. They got their own stuff going on, their own rentals, their own sales going on. They don't have time to be holding your hand too. So it just depends. So in my instance, you know, the type of person I am in a real estate firm that I chose, I was successful with it. And I still like always had, like I always kept my day job, and I always done that at night. Now, I feel like a lot of people watch shows like $1 Million Listing, or you watch Shots of Sunset and you see like Reza Farahàn and MJ. You know, they're real estate agents. They seem to be pretty successful. So people feel like, oh, I'm just going to quit and I'm going to make all the money in the world. I'm not saying that you are not going to be able to be successful and that you're not going to secure mad listings. You're not going to have mad deals to close. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, getting started, like your first like 6 months, don't quit your job. And if you're doing sales primarily, you could go around with clients for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4, 5, even a year before they actually choose something and close on something, you know, close the deal. So people feel like when they first start, they're going to have all these clients at once. They're going to be closing deals left and right. Like, the process for closing deals on sales is slower than rentals, if you get what I'm saying. So, I would just say keep that in mind. If you're becoming a real estate agent and you're thinking like as soon as you get licensed you want to quit, hold on, pump your brakes, keep your job, hold on. Because if you don't make money your first month and you got rent and bills and car notes and car insurance, like, they gotta get paid, right? You can't pay them if you're not making money. So I would say don't quit your job right away once you become licensed. And it's okay to be optimistic, and you know, you think I'm gonna get my license, I'm gonna kill the game. You most likely probably will kill the game, but keep your job until you kill the game, if you know what I mean. When we watch shows like $1 Million Listing, a lot of the times those real estate agents, you know, those agents aren't just real estate agents, they are brokers, you know. And a broker is someone who has more training than a real estate agent, and they basically are, this is the only way I can break it down to you so that you guys can understand how a broker, what a broker's position is in relation to a real estate agent. So I feel like a broker would be like a pimp, right? I mean, a broker will be a pimp, right? And the real estate agents will be the girls or the guys that work for the pimp, right? So this pimp has, you know, all his people working for him, and everything that his people makes that are working for him, he gets a cut out of. You get what I'm saying? So if I rent an apartment for $3,000, I would be getting $1,500, and my broker would probably get the other $1,500 if it's their listing. It depends on what the commission split is. Let's just say it's 50-50. My brokers is 50-50. It's their listing. They get $1,500. I keep $1,500. So if I rent out 4 apartments for $3,000 in 1 month, and let's see, that would be $6,000 on my part, and then $6,000 on my broker's part. So every dime that a real estate agent makes, a broker is getting a cut. So if you're a broker, you don't have to sell anything. You don't even got to leave the office. You could just sit there and have your agents do everything, and that's how you will make money, and you will live happily ever after, okay? So a lot of the time when we watch shows like $1 Million Listing, those are brokers. You know, I can't even think of their names off your hand all of a sudden. As much as I watch that show, I can't think of nobody's name right now to reference. I'm crazy, I know. But, you know, they are brokers. They also have a lot of connections with, like, you know, developers, builders, and things of that nature. And so when you have those connections with builders and developers, that's where you're going to make a bulk of your money. I feel like those connections are more important than just finding your average Joe on the street that's selling their $300,000 house. Like, that's cool, but when you have connection with developers, builders, architects, all those type of things, you in there like somewhere. So when you are just becoming a real estate agent, you're not going to necessarily have those connections unless you are already working in real estate but you just weren't licensed. But it takes like a, you know, a good year to start to build those connections. And I actually get called, you know, sometimes like I come in contact with, like, you know, contractors and things. They're like, oh, I just finished, you know, this builder builds this huge building and they need somebody to help rent it. Are you interested? And like, I have 2 people that have called me to ask me if I wanted to do that on 2 different occasions. And that's just me being in the field, meeting different people, giving them my business card, and they just like calling me up and hooking me up. So I feel like real estate is all about building relationships. That's how you're gonna make money. But when you're fresh out of real estate school, just passed your PSI exam, like I'm saying, be optimistic, be driven, be ambitious, but keep your day job. Keep it. Keep it. Okay? And I work in a town called West New York in New Jersey. That's the city that my broker's office is in. And one of the top real estate agents worked as a teacher, I believe. Or was he a principal? One or the other. Not too sure. For 20 years, he was a top selling agent. He kept his day job, but was making mad money on the side. I just feel like as a real estate agent, I feel like that's a side hustle, a side thing. You know what I'm saying? And there was also a lady that I've heard of who worked a full-time job, and she had open houses on the weekends. If you ever rocked like a neighborhood on like a Saturday or a Sunday, they'll like open house Saturday, open house Sunday. All she did was open houses on weekends, and she made an extra 80 to 100K every year just doing that. But she kept her day job. And when you're a real estate agent, say for instance, I have the buyer is my client. You don't really have to do anything but sit back. You put it on an MLS and other agents will call you. So you don't even have to do anything really. So yeah, I say all that to say keep your day job. And also real estate fees are really expensive. I just paid my MLS fee for $250. December I'll be paying another $400 and some change for the realtor association fee, you know, to be part of the National Board of Realtors. So I'm just saying, if you're going to be a real estate agent, I'm not knocking it. I'm saying if you are a go-getter, you are not socially awkward, you can talk, you got the gift of gab, you're well-spoken, do it. Go take a class. I personally did Weichert and I passed. I did the PSI. I passed on the first try. I made a whole video about that, and you know, do it. But do not, I repeat, don't quit your job, okay? And I had a girl who was in my class, and she worked at a school during the year. So in the summer, I'm not sure which real estate firm she worked for. She said all she did was come in every day and answer the phones. She ain't closed not one deal the whole summer, and the deal she did have fell through. So imagine, like, you know, she had her money saved for her bills for the summer because she does it every year. But imagine quitting your job and then the firm you work for, nobody really is helping you. They just tell you, sit down and answer some phones and you don't make any money. Imagine. That'd be tragic. So that's just my word of advice for all you new real estate agents out there. And I actually painted my wall white just so I could make videos for you guys. It was like a beigey color before, but now it's white. So if you made it this far, you know, to this point of my video and you're still here, I just want to thank you for coming to kick it with me today. And I will see you guys in my next YouTube video. Toodles!